How 7 Stoic secrets can help you stay calm and make better decisions every day. Imagine this. You wake up to a message that changes everything. A client cancels a contract. A friend betrays you. A loved one is sick. Your heartbeat quickens. Your thoughts spiral. What do? Most people react. They panic, get angry, or feel hopeless. But what if there was a way to stay calm, to think clearly, and to make the best decision every single time? The ancient Stoics knew the secret. They faced wars, exile, and personal tragedies, yet they remained unshaken. Their wisdom isn't just ancient philosophy. It's a system, a mental framework that, if mastered, can make you unstoppable. Today, we're diving into 7 Stoic secrets that can change how you handle challenges, emotions, and decisions. But before we start, ask yourself, what if everything you need to control your life is already within you? The first secret: control what you can. Let go of the rest. You have 2 zones in life. Things you control, things you don't. Your actions, your mindset, your effort, those are in your hands. The economy, the weather, other people's opinions, not yours to command. Marcus Aurelius put it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about your daily stressors. How many of them come from trying to control something you simply can't? Imagine spending your entire day angry because of a traffic jam, a rude comment, or a random event. Now imagine letting all that go. What changes? The secret here is radical focus. Focus only on what you control, and suddenly, the noise of life loses its power over you. The second secret: see everything as training. Seneca once wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Every obstacle is training. Every setback is a lesson." The Stoics had a mindset so powerful that even in suffering, they saw growth. Think of the last time life threw something unexpected at you. Did you react emotionally, or did you step back and train yourself in patience, resilience, and discipline? A storm doesn't break a mountain, it shapes it. When you reframe every hardship as mental training, you remove fear from failure. You stop resisting pain and start using it. So ask yourself, are you letting life defeat you, or are you letting it shape you? The third secret: master your desires before they master you. Most of what makes people suffer isn't real suffering. It's attachment. We suffer because we want things to go a certain way. We crave validation, security, status, and when we don't get them, we break. Epictetus had a brutal truth for this. It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them. Think about it. If someone ignores your message, does it really hurt you? Or is it your mind whispering, "They don't respect me. I'm not important"? When you let go of desires that aren't in your control, you stop being a slave to them. You stop reacting and start acting. The fourth secret: learn to die before you die. The most shocking Stoic practice? Memento mori. Remember, you will die. Maybe tomorrow, maybe in 50 years, but it's coming. To the Stoics, this wasn't a depressing thought, it was freeing. Let each thing you do be done as if it were your last. Marcus Aurelius. If you truly grasp this, you stop wasting time. You stop worrying about petty things. You make better decisions, because there's no time for regret. Think of all the things you'd do differently if you knew this was your last year. What would you stop caring about? What would you start focusing on? The fifth secret: turn insults into nothing. Seneca wrote, "If you are ever insulted, ask yourself, would I be offended if a child said this?" Most insults only hurt because we allow them to. The Stoics had a simple rule: if something can't touch your mind, can't touch you, try this. Next time someone says something offensive, pause. Instead of reacting, ask yourself, is this true? If yes, learn from it. Is this false? If yes, why be upset? The more you practice, the less others control your emotions. The sixth secret: keep a silent mind in a loud world. Your mind is your fortress. If you let it be filled with noise, you'll never have peace. If you guard it, you'll never be disturbed. Marcus Aurelius called it the inner citadel. No matter how chaotic the world, he trained himself to find stillness inside. Today, we live in an age of distraction: phones, news, endless opinions. The Stoics would say, silence is power. Try this. Spend 10 minutes in total silence every day. No phone, no noise, just presence. When chaos happens, pause before you react. Let silence guide your response. The ability to stay still in a storm is the mark of a master. The seventh secret: live by principles, not by feelings. If you act only when you feel like it, you will never be free. If you wait for motivation, you'll always be chasing. The Stoics lived by principles, unshakable truths that didn't change with their emotions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This is where true freedom lies. If you act based on principles, not feelings, you will always make the right decision. You will stay calm. You will be unstoppable. Final thought: these 7 secrets aren't just ideas, they are weapons. They give you control over yourself when the world tries to pull you in every direction. But there's one last question left. If you know these secrets, will you actually use them? How Stoic masters build an unbreakable mind. What if nothing could shake you? Not insults, not failure, not uncertainty. Imagine walking into a high-stakes meeting, facing an angry critic, or getting bad news and staying completely calm, completely in control. This isn't just a fantasy, it's the Stoic ideal. The most powerful minds in history: Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, had a mental fortress no one could break. And in this part, we'll reveal how they built it. But first, ask yourself, how much of your suffering is because you haven't trained your mind to be stronger? The first pillar: indifference to external approval. Most people live for one thing: validation. What will they think of me? Do they like me? Am I doing enough? This is a prison. If your happiness depends on others, you're never free. Epictetus had a brutal but liberating truth. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because chasing approval makes you weak. You bend to fit expectations. You hesitate, second guess, and suffer. The Stoic solution: detach from opinion. If praise comes, accept it but don't need it. If criticism comes, evaluate it but don't fear it. Ask yourself, are you living your truth or someone else's expectations? The second pillar: the power of negative visualization. Modern people avoid thinking about worst-case scenarios. Stoics embraced them. They practiced premeditatio malorum, mentally rehearsing bad outcomes before they happened. He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand. Seneca. Why? Because fear is the enemy of good decisions. When you imagine failure, loss, embarrassment, and accept them, they stop controlling you. Try this exercise. Imagine losing your job. What would you do? Imagine failing at your next big goal. What would happen next? Imagine being insulted in public. How would you respond? This does not mean being negative. It means training your mind to be prepared. No surprises, no fear, only action. The third pillar: the ability to withstand pain. The Stoics had a saying, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most of our pain isn't real. It's mental drama. We replay events, exaggerate problems, fear things that haven't even happened. And because of that, we suffer twice, once in reality, and once in our minds. But what if you could endure anything? The secret is choosing pain before it chooses you. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort. They fasted even when they had food. They slept on hard floors when they had beds. They trained in cold, hunger, rejection so nothing could break them. Try it yourself. Take a cold shower. Feel your body scream, but don't react. Go a day without something you need. See how little you actually need it. When you're tired, push yourself a little more. What happens? You realize you are stronger than your comfort zone. The fourth pillar, seeing time as a precious resource. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Most people act like they have forever. They procrastinate, delay, avoid hard things. But the Stoics knew, time is the one thing you never get back. Think of your last week. How much of it was wasted? How many things did you put off because there's always tomorrow? Try this. Set a deadline, not a deadline. Instead of "I'll start next week," say, "If I had 1 year left, would I still wait?" Instead of "I'll reach out someday," say, "If I die tomorrow, will I regret not doing this today?" Life speeds up when you take time seriously. You stop postponing. You stop being lazy. And you start making better decisions because every moment counts. The fifth pillar, turning obstacles into opportunities. Stoicism's most famous lesson? The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. Problems aren't problems. They are fuel. If you lose money, you learn discipline. If someone betrays you, you learn who to trust. If you fail, you gain experience. Every obstacle is a gift. If you see it that way, think about the biggest difficulty in your life right now. What if, instead of fighting it, you used it? What if you asked, "How can this make me stronger?" The Stoics didn't avoid hardship. They welcomed it, because hardship creates greatness. The sixth pillar, the discipline of letting go. A philosopher was once asked, "What is the secret to peace?" He smiled and said, "To let go." Most of us carry too much. Old grudges, past mistakes, regret, anxiety. The more you hold on, the heavier life feels. The more you let go, the lighter you become. The Stoics had a habit. They practiced dying before they actually died. Every night, they imagined their last breath. They asked themselves, "What am I clinging to that doesn't matter?" Try this right now. Close your eyes. Imagine you have 1 day left. What regrets would you drop? What worries would you ignore? What would you focus on instead? Freedom isn't gaining more. It's letting go of what holds you back. The seventh pillar, living like a warrior. A Stoic doesn't live passively. A Stoic chooses their path. You are not a victim of life. You are not just floating. You are a warrior, a builder, a creator of your fate. Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome. Epictetus was a slave who became a teacher. Seneca was exiled and still became one of the greatest minds in history. They didn't wait for life to be easy. They made life bow to them. So the question is, are you living like a Stoic? Or are you waiting for life to happen to you? Final thought. The mind is a muscle. If you train it, it becomes unbreakable. If you don't, it remains weak, fragile, and easily controlled. You now have 7 mental disciplines that the Stoic masters used. But knowing them is not enough. The question is, will you train your mind? Or will you stay the same? The ultimate Stoic blueprint for fearless living. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff. Below you is everything you fear: failure, rejection, uncertainty, pain, and death itself. Most people step back, but the Stoic steps forward. Not because they are reckless, but because they have mastered the one thing that controls everything: their mind. What would your life look like if fear no longer dictated your choices? If you could walk into any situation with complete confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, you will remain calm, in control, and powerful? In this final part, we will break down the ultimate Stoic blueprint for fearless living, the final steps to true freedom. But before we begin, ask yourself, what would my life be like if I lived without fear? The first step, facing reality without illusion. Most fear comes from one thing, illusion. We fear failure, even though failure is how we grow. We fear judgment, even though no one's opinion truly affects us. We fear uncertainty, even though uncertainty is the nature of life itself. The Stoics had a word for this, fantasia. It means seeing reality clearly, without distortion. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Marcus Aurelius. The cure for fear? See things as they are, not as your mind distorts them. Instead of fearing failure, see it as data. Instead of fearing criticism, see it as noise. Instead of fearing uncertainty, see it as adventure. Ask yourself, what illusions are controlling you right now? What would change if you saw the truth instead? The second step, practicing voluntary hardship. Most people want comfort. The Stoics wanted control. Why did they sleep on the ground when they had beds? Why did they walk in the cold with no coat? Because they understood, if you voluntarily choose difficulty, nothing can ever make you weak. Seneca had a simple rule. Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself, is this the condition that I feared? When you train yourself in discomfort, you destroy fear at its root. You no longer worry about losing things because you've already proven you can thrive without them. Try it yourself. Fast for a day. Feel hunger, but don't let it control you. Spend a day without your phone. See how much freedom you actually have. Take a cold shower. Train your body to obey you, not the other way around. The goal isn't suffering. The goal is fear-proofing your mind. The third step, mastering emotional alchemy. The Stoics had a power few people understand, the ability to transform emotions at will. Most people are slaves to their emotions. If they feel sad, they are sad. If they feel angry, they lash out. If they feel anxious, they stop. But the Stoics, they tamed emotions like a warrior tames a wild horse. Marcus Aurelius practiced this every day. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Instead of reacting to emotions, observe them. Anger? Pause. See it. Ask, is this useful? If not, let it go. Fear? Pause. Examine it. Ask, is this real? Or just a thought? Doubt? Pause. Reframe it. Instead of, I'm not good enough, ask, how can I improve? Your emotions do not control you. You control them, but only if you train. The fourth step, living as if you have already died. This is the ultimate test, the highest Stoic practice, and the fastest way to eliminate fear forever. The Stoics had a habit called memento mori. It means, remember you must die. To most people, death is terrifying. To the Stoics, it was freedom. If you knew you had 1 year left, would you still be afraid to take risks? If you knew today was your last, would you still waste time on petty worries? Marcus Aurelius meditated on death daily, not to be morbid, but to be alive. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Try this. Write your own eulogy. What do you want people to say about you? Live that way now. Imagine today is your last. What would you change? Change it now. Let go of everything that doesn't matter. Because in the end, most things don't. Memento mori isn't about death. It's about waking up to life. The fifth step, turning fear into action. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is energy. The Stoics knew this. That's why they didn't fight fear, they used it. He who is brave is free. Seneca. Every great decision comes with fear, but instead of letting it stop them, the Stoics asked, what's the worst that can happen? Usually, the answer is, not much. What's the best that can happen? Usually, the answer is, everything. What action can I take right now? Because action kills fear faster than anything. When you feel fear, Use it. Take one step forward. Fear cannot survive movement. The final step, becoming untouchable. A Stoic warrior doesn't wish for an easy life. They wish to be so strong that no life can break them. They train their mind. They embrace hardship. They transform fear. They live fully, without regret. This is not just philosophy. It is a way of being. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor. Seneca. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Now you know the Stoic blueprint for fearless living. But the real question is, will you use it? Or will you wake up tomorrow and live like everyone else? The final challenge. For the next 24 hours, live like a Stoic. Do not complain. Do not react emotionally. Do not waste time. Control only what you can. Let go of everything else. Treat everything as training. Take action despite fear. And at the end of the day, ask yourself, was I free? If the answer is no, do it again. Until you are. This is the Stoic way. This is true power. This is the end of fear.